The Life and Legacy of King Tutankhamun 20. Fascinating Facts. King Tutankhamun. He was one of the most enigmatic figures in ancient history. His life was short, his reign seemingly insignificant, but the mystery surrounding him has captivated the world for decades. Today, we're diving into the lesser-known, shocking facts about this boy king and his fascinating world that will leave any history lover intrigued. First king at 9. Tutankhamun became pharaoh at the tender age of 9. Imagine a child, barely old enough to understand the complexities of life, ruling over one of the most powerful empires of the ancient world. He inherited a kingdom steeped in religious turmoil, brought on by his father Akhenaten, who had turned Egypt upside down by abandoning traditional gods in favor of the worship of one deity, Aten the sun disk. 2. A boy of many names. Tutankhamun wasn't always called Tutankhamun. His original name was Tutankhaten, reflecting his father's devotion to Aten. However, during his reign, Tut restored the old polytheistic ways, reinstituting the worship of the god Amun, and thus changed his name to reflect this, becoming Tutankhamun, meaning living image of Amun. 3. His father was a heretic. Tutankhamun's father, Akhenaten, was one of ancient Egypt's most controversial pharaohs. He threw the kingdom into religious chaos by introducing monotheism, worshipping only Aten. After Akhenaten's death, his son was tasked with undoing the damage his father had caused. Tutankhamun moved the capital back to Thebes and reinstated the worship of Egypt's traditional gods. 4. A mysterious death. Tutankhamun died around the age of 19, but the cause of his death remains one of history's greatest mysteries. His mummy shows signs of various injuries, including a broken leg, and DNA analysis suggests he had malaria. Some believe he died from an accident, possibly a chariot crash, while others theorize foul play. Could this boy king have been assassinated? We may never know. 5. Physical deformities. Recent studies reveal that King Tutankhamun had several physical deformities, likely caused by inbreeding. His parents were siblings, which was common among Egyptian royalty to keep the bloodline pure. This resulted in a number of health issues for Tut, including a clubfoot and scoliosis. He often had to rely on walking sticks, many of which were found in his tomb. 6. Married to his half-sister Tutankhamun was married to his half-sister Ankhesenamun, continuing the royal family's tradition of incestuous marriages. The union was likely meant to consolidate power within the family. Although they were married, there's no record of them having any surviving children. However, 2 mummified fetuses, likely their stillborn daughters, were found in his tomb. 7. The attempted erasure of his father's legacy. Though Tutankhamun worked to restore Egypt's traditional religious practices, his advisors were the true power behind the throne. They led the charge to erase all memory of his father's radical rule. Temples were restored, statues of the traditional gods were re-erected, and Akhenaten's name was chiseled off monuments. This was a time of restoring balance, at least in the eyes of the priests and nobles. 8. He wasn't buried in a royal tomb. Tutankhamun's tomb, though rich in treasure, was modest compared to those of other pharaohs. Why? His death was sudden and unexpected, so there was little time to prepare a grand resting place. His tomb was likely meant for someone of lesser importance, hastily repurposed for the young king after his untimely death. 9. The Curse of the Pharaoh. The discovery of King Tut's tomb in 1922 sparked rumors of a curse. Several people involved in the excavation, including Lord Carnarvon, who funded the expedition, died under mysterious circumstances. While science attributes these deaths to natural causes, the idea of a mummy's curse captured public imagination and has become part of the myth surrounding Tutankhamun. 10. His wife's tragic fate. After Tutankhamun's death, his widow, Ankhesenamun, faced a perilous future. She wrote to the king of the Hittites, an enemy of Egypt, asking him to send one of his sons to marry her because she feared for her life. The Hittite prince was sent but was murdered before reaching Egypt. Ankhesenamun's ultimate fate remains unknown, lost to the shadows of history. 11. A revolution in his honor. Although Tutankhamun's reign was largely peaceful, his memory has ignited revolutions in archaeology. His tomb was the most intact royal burial ever found, filled with over 5,000 priceless artifacts, sparking worldwide fascination with ancient Egypt. 12. Tutankhamun's golden mask. One of the most iconic artifacts from his tomb is his golden death mask, weighing over 22 pounds and inlaid with semi-precious stones. It's a stunning piece of craftsmanship, designed to ensure that the pharaoh's spirit could recognize his body in the afterlife. 13. Not forgotten by history, but nearly Tutankhamun's reign was so insignificant in the grand scope of Egyptian history that he was almost forgotten. His successors erased his name from many records, and his tomb was buried beneath the rubble of other construction projects, protecting it from grave robbers for centuries. 14. A symbol of power, but not the source. During Tutankhamun's reign, Egypt was really controlled by his advisors, Ai and Horemheb, who managed the kingdom's affairs. Tut was too young and inexperienced to rule on his own, and his health likely limited his involvement in state matters. 15. Egypt's lost treasures. When his tomb was uncovered in 1922, it was the first time in centuries that a pharaoh's final resting place had been found mostly intact. The treasures within, including chariots, thrones, and a wealth of jewelry, have offered invaluable insights into the lavish lifestyle of Egypt's elite. 16. The pharaoh with a clubfoot Tutankhamun was physically frail, suffering from a clubfoot that would have made walking difficult. More than 130 walking sticks were found in his tomb, suggesting he relied on them in daily life. 17. The boy king's military potential. Despite his physical limitations, King Tut was depicted as a warrior in numerous artworks. His tomb included weapons, shields, and even his personal chariot, though there is no evidence he actually led any military campaigns. 18. Two stillborn daughters. Inside his tomb, archaeologists discovered the mummified remains of two stillborn daughters, likely the children of Tutankhamun and Ankhesenamun. Their presence in the tomb underscores the tragedy of his short life and unfulfilled legacy. 19 DNA confirms his lineage. Recent DNA testing has confirmed that Tutankhamun's parents were indeed brother and sister, further explaining his physical disabilities. The practice of inbreeding among Egypt's royals was common, though it had severe genetic consequences. 20. Tutankhamun's eternal legacy. Though he was a relatively minor pharaoh in his own time, the discovery of King Tutankhamun's tomb has ensured his immortality. The treasures, mysteries, and unanswered questions surrounding his life and death have made him one of the most famous figures in history, embodying the wonder and splendor of ancient Egypt. The boy king's legacy is a fascinating one, a life filled with mystery, power, and tragedy. Which fact left you in awe? Share your thoughts and let's continue uncovering the secrets of the ancient world.